My grandson and I have a lot of things in common. You've heard many stories I've told about him and our adventures together. But it's an amazing thing how much we have in common. He likes Cheetos. I love Cheetos. I like macaroni and cheese. He loves macaroni and cheese. But one thing that he really enjoys, which I really enjoy, and it's an amazing thing since he's only 6 years old, is we both enjoy salmon sashimi. That's unusual for somebody coming from Texas. But nonetheless, that creamy, rich, beautiful, buttery taste of salmon sashimi is something that we're both crazy about. And when I visit him in the States, we often try to share it together, but it's very expensive in the States. But here in Ecuador, it's not. And that's a wonderful thing. And we have a place over in Guayaquil that we go to anytime he comes to Ecuador. It's a wonderful place. It's called Yamatos. And it's run by a wonderful, kind, gentle Japanese man named Mr. Yamato. But it's delicious, and we go there and we enjoy it together, and we're both able to have our own plate because of the prices of it. But the reason I'm telling you this story is because of what Mr. Yamato does when children are present in his restaurant. He does it for all the children that come, and my grandson just loves this little ritual that he does. What he will do is he will come to the table where there is a child, and he will get the child's attention, and then he will reach out his fist closed like this and ask them basically to choose which one they would like. And of course they make a choice and they choose one, and he opens up his hand and he gives them this wonderful little gift. A Kinder Egg. Many of you may be familiar with it. Perhaps you're not. But one of the things that's so wonderful about this Kinder Egg, and if you break it open like this, you find that what it has inside of it, one side is a rich, white, and dark chocolate dessert with little cream balls in it. Delicious. And then the other side has a toy in it. I won't open this one up for us this morning. But you have to put it together. And for him, it is just heavenly. Because he loves putting toys together, and he loves eating chocolate. And so this is a great gift for him. Now, as I was thinking on what I could preach about on Easter Sunday, as best I can calculate it, this is my 39th Easter sermon that I have preached. After a while, you get to wonder what you're going to say. It came to me that this Kinder Egg is a parable. It's a parable for what Easter is all about. It's a parable I want to try to fill in today and share with you. Because Easter is an event that has not one surprise in it, but two surprises. And that's what I want to share with you today. I want to talk about the two great surprises of Easter. The two great gifts that God gives us this Easter time. I want to talk about the Easter egg, so to speak. And I want to talk about both sides of the Easter egg. So that we can truly enjoy the fullness of Easter in our lives. So we'll start then with the first side. The most popular side. Like the chocolate side. Everybody that opens a Kinder Egg immediately goes for the chocolate. Because it's so tasty and it's so delicious. The chocolate side of the egg is the side that we all know about. Christ is risen. Christ is risen from the dead. Christ is alive. And we all celebrate that. And we all rejoice about it. And it is something to be joyful about. It is something to behold. It is something wonderful beyond all wonderfulnesses. That the dead Jesus has become the living Christ. The dead Jesus has become the voice of the living Christ. That from the dead Jesus has risen up the living Christ now, able to go all over this world and speak through the voice of the living Christ the words that are now vindicated. That's what the resurrection is about. It's a vindication of Jesus' life. It's a vindication of his death. And it's a vindication of his rising again. Vindication. Everything he said was in fact true. The best life in this world is the selfless life. The greatest life in this world is the self-giving life. The greatest life in this world is the life that lays down its life for others. That's the greatest life. And by being raised from the dead, by being shown that this is the Christ now, the world knows and will never be able to run away from it. This is the truth. And when we learn it, this world will be much better. When we learn that living for others is the best way to live, when we learn everything Jesus taught is true, that if we love one another as brothers and sisters, this world will be heaven on earth. That's what the resurrection says to us. This Christ that is raised in glory to let us know that this is the way we are to live. And not only is that vindicated, but the other thing he said as well. Life is eternal. There's no death in life. Don't let anybody tell you that death is the end of life. Death is only a simple passage. Life is eternal. And Jesus came to let us know that, to understand it. And his resurrection says to us, it's true. Life is eternal. Live for others, love one another, and know that your life is eternal. This is what the great glory of Easter is all about. This is what the resurrection of Easter celebrates for us. Oh, but there is much, much more. That's only the beginning. That's only the beginning. The resurrection of Christ is only the beginning of an even greater truth. An even more amazing truth. And the scriptures bear it out over and over and over and over again. If Christ be raised from the dead, then so shall we. Aha! That's what most people forget. Or they may remember it, but they don't remember it except on Easter. If Christ be raised from the dead, then all of us shall be raised from the dead. If there is resurrection power, it's not just for Christ. It's for you, and it's for me, and it's for every one of you here. We shall all be raised from the dead. This is what Jesus meant when he said to his followers, listen to me, brothers and sisters, if a man dies, yet will he live. This is not something Jesus made up. This is in the universe. This is in life. This is in the truth of all that there is. We do not die. Life is eternal. And if Christ is raised, so shall we be raised. Oh, death, where is thy sting, we say. If this is true, then death has no sting in our life. Because we now can believe with certainty, with confidence, with commitment. We shall rise again, just as Christ rose again. Is not that an amazing truth? To know that not only has Christ risen, but that we too shall rise. Oh, but there is much, much more. It's not enough just to say Christ has risen. It's not enough to just say that we shall rise from physical death. It's not enough just to say Christ has risen from physical death. It is not enough just to say that we have risen from physical death. It is enough to say we shall rise from any death we face. You see, there are a lot of different kinds of death. There's physical death, yes. But let me tell you, there are a lot of other kinds of death. There are a lot of tombs that we put ourselves into. The tombs of doubt. The graves of fear. The crypts of self-low esteem. How many people in this world are literally the walking dead? Oh, they're alive, but they're not spiritually alive. They're as dead as they could be, caring only about themselves, what they can buy, what they can eat, and what they can put on. That's all they care about. And they're as dead could be. But the good news of Easter is we can be raised from that kind of death as well. We can be raised from the death of physical death, and we can be raised from the death of spiritual death. There is no death that has any victory over us whatsoever. Wow, now we're beginning to hear the full gospel of Easter. We can be raised just as Jesus is raised. Raised from our physical death, yes, and raised from our spiritual deaths, yes, and always raised up. Death will have no victory over us under any circumstances, anywhere. That's the message this world needs to hear today. All of the nastiness, the cruelness, the darkness, the badness, everything that's going on has no excuse to be with us anymore. For we all can be raised into a new life, a new humanity, a new world. It can be done. And that's what Easter says to us. It has been done. It will be done. And it shall be done. And that is the first surprise we have in the egg. The power of resurrection. The power that raised Jesus. Power that raises me. Power that raises you. But you know what is the saddest thing? Is that our world does not believe this. We have people in our world who believe the world is flat. We have people in our world who believe that UFOs are coming to take us home tomorrow. We have people in this world who believe all kinds of things, but they won't believe in the power of the resurrection. How sad is that? Because in my mind, it is the greatest power God has given us. Oh, God gave us the power of electricity, and it's fine. God gave us the power of the nuclear energy, and it's fine. But there is no greater power than being able to be resurrected. Resurrected from spiritual death, resurrected from physical death, resurrected from whatever kind of death you want to face anywhere. That's the greatest power in the world, and people will not yet believe it. It is here, and it is alive, and it is real, more real than anything we have ever seen. But people won't believe it. I've worried about this for 39 Easter Sundays. And I am convinced that the main reason people will not believe it is that they have been misled. Or they are shy about thinking about it because they have been misled. It has not been made clear to them what resurrection is. It has not been made clear to them what is this power that God has shown us here on Easter Sunday. Today, in one brief segment, I want to try to add a little clarity, please. And the way I want to do it is this. I want to say this one phrase and explain it just a little bit. Resurrection is not resuscitation. I want you to think about that. That's where the confusion lies. People think that we are saying Jesus was resuscitated from the dead. He was not resuscitated from the dead. That is not what resurrection is. Resuscitation is what happens in zombie movies. Resuscitation is what happened to Frankenstein. Anytime you reanimate a physical body, you know what happens? The physical body has to die again. That's reanimation. That's resuscitation. And that is not the power of resurrection. The power of recreation, the power of resurrection is the power of recreation. People have no problem saying, oh, God is our creator. He created the world. He created everything. Well, let me tell you, if He can create the world, He can recreate the world. And that's what resurrection is when He recreates you. It's when He recreates you from the tomb you may find yourself in. Whether it be the tomb of physical death or whether it be the tomb of spiritual death, whatever tomb it is, God's power of resurrection is to recreate you, is to make you into the new life God means for you to be. This is what resurrection is. It is the power of recreation, of taking that which is dead and making it live again. Oh, it may have a body when it's made live again, yes, but it will be a new body. And it may have a spirit when it is made alive again, but it will be a new spirit. I'm telling you the truth. This is resurrection power, and it is in life. It is as real as electric power, nuclear power, any other kind of power you want to say. Life is filled with resurrection power everywhere you want to look. And that's what Jesus used, and that's what God used to resurrect Jesus from the dead. I want to share with you 3 examples quickly of why I believe this is so true. First of all, when I was 7 years old, my father gave me a little planter box with dirt in it. And he gave me a little green bean seed. And he taught me how to put that seed in the dirt and cover it up and pour the water on it. And he told me to wait. And he told me to wait. And he said, son, a new life is going to be born. And I watched it, and you know what? After a few days, little bitty, tiny, green thing, boop, popped up. Now, it did not look like the seed that I planted. No, it was not like that seed at all. It was a totally new life. And it was a green bean plant. And it grew up taller and taller and taller. And my father taught me that lesson a long, long time ago. This is what life does. This is what is reality in the world. That seed is dead and gone. It has germinated. It is no longer among us. But the plant is. What do you think that is? That's resurrection power. Changing that which has died into that which is now new and alive. If you cannot believe in that simple process of the dead being changed into life, then you'd best stop eating vegetables. Or anything else in this world, as a matter of fact. Resurrection power is everywhere. Changing that which has died into that which is new and living. And this is one of the reasons I believe in the power of resurrection. But let me tell you, there's another. I have been in ministry for over 39 years. I have seen about every kind of darkness and every kind of evil you could imagine. Oh, I have seen those addicted to drugs, and I have seen those addicted to alcohol. I have seen those who are in prison. I have seen those on death row. I have seen people who have shot other people. I have seen people who have gone through divorces. I have seen people from broken families. I have seen every kind of ugliness. I have seen people traffic other people for sexual pleasures. I have seen these things, and I've seen them all my life. I've seen the dirtiness and the sinfulness and the darkness of this world. I have seen people whose lives are dead-end lives, and there's nothing that can be said about them, but they're a dead-end life. But I have seen persons who have been resurrected. I have seen persons who have come up from that kind of dirt that I have just talked to you about, who have risen up from it, and that they now have lived and are living real and true and helpful and beneficial lives. I have seen people who were buried in tombs of fear, buried in tombs of doubt, buried in tombs of low self-esteem. I have seen them be born again. I have seen them rise up. I have seen them, like that little plant, come up out of the dirt and say, wait a minute, God loves me, and I am here now to live a new life. Not the same old life, just tuned up a little bit. No. We're talking about new life. Brand new life. No more going to do those things I did before. Now I do a new thing. Because I'm a new person. And I have seen that. This is not make-believe. This is real human drama. I've seen it over and over, year after year after year after year. That's resurrection power. It's among us. And it can change people's lives. It can change your life. It can make you much more free from the darkness you find yourself in today. And it will make you even more free when the day of death comes your way. So, that's another reason I believe in the resurrection power. But the final reason. In my years in ministry, I have sat with many dying people. Kind of lost count. How many funerals have I done? But I have sat with persons who have transitioned from this life to the next. I've held their hand. I've watched them die. And in those experiences, I have seen two different results. And I'm here to tell you as clearly as I can, this is what I have seen. I have seen those people who have died, who have passed on, who believe that a new life comes. I have seen those who believe that this life is only transitory and that they are moving on to something greater. I have seen those people die. And let me tell you what I have seen. They die in peace, like a boat slipping into water. Like that. But I have also seen those who do not believe there is anything coming, who believe in darkness, who think that there is nothing else but this world and nothing else to live in but this world. I have seen them die, and I have seen them convulse and shake and struggle and fight to stay alive. One more second, one more minute. And oh, it's a painful thing to watch, to see them struggle so badly, to hear the gurgling, to hear the grasping, for something to hold on to so that they can stay in this world one more second. And then they're gone like the rest. That's why I believe in the resurrection. I have seen the power of the resurrection in those who believe in it. I have seen it in those who slip gently into that great unknown. I told this story one time to a doctor. He was an OB-GYN doctor. And he said to me, well, of course. And I looked at him and said, what do you mean, well, of course? I thought I just told you a tremendous truth. What do you mean? And he said, that's the way it is in my profession. I said, what do you mean in your profession? You're an OB-GYN. You're seeing people into this world. I see people out of this world. He says, let me tell you, I've delivered a bunch of babies. And he says, it's true the same thing about babies. Some babies instinctively believe inside the womb that there's a better life coming. Some babies instinctively believe that there is something beyond the womb and the warmness and the umbilical cord and all the little life they have inside that. They believe it. And he says, you know what happens? They just slide out. He says, some babies, they hold on to everything they can get. They want to stay in that womb because there's an instinctive fear inside of them. They don't believe there's anything coming next. It's just darkness out there. It's nothing. I want to stay in the womb because I understand the womb. I understand the oxygen being fed to me through a tube. I understand the food is great. I want to stay here. Ain't nothing out there. And that's when I discovered in my own mind, this is the power of the resurrection. When we're born into this world, we have to have faith that there's life in this world. And when we are born into the next world, we need to have the same faith that we have life in that world as well. Resurrection power. That's what it's all about. That's what Jesus knew, and that's why he taught and said to people, even though you die, yet shall you live. This is what resurrection power is all about. So then, there it is, the first half of the egg. We have it so clearly said for us. Christ has risen from the dead. We shall rise from the dead. We can rise from any kind of death we face. Amen to that. Ooh, but we have the second side of the egg. We must talk about it quickly today. The second side of the egg. The part with that which you have to make yourself. Yes, it is an important part. Let's go back to the story right quickly. You remember Mary Magdalene? She comes to the tomb and she's so heartbroken because she sees that her master's been taken somewhere. She can't find him any place in the garden. She runs into a man she thinks is the gardener. Where have you taken him? Where have you laid him down? Just tell me and I'll go get him. And then she hears the voice, doesn't see a Jesus, doesn't feel a Jesus, doesn't have anything about that, but she hears a voice and she recognizes the voice and she says, Lord. And then Jesus says one of the most confusing things we have in the New Testament. He says, don't hold on to me. Obviously, she wants to grab the gardener and hug him. She wants to fall out and kiss his feet. She wants to do something to show her affection for him. But Jesus says, don't hold on to me. Why? What's wrong? He resurrected. What's the big deal? And then he says, listen, here's the big deal. I have not yet ascended to my Father. Does that mean? And then he says something that is even more amazing, something that is even more wonderful and powerful that we don't see too often. He says clearly and plainly, go tell my disciples that I am ascending. Participle, not past tense. I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God. If you want to know what the resurrected Jesus is doing, he's ascending. That's what he's doing. He's risen from the dead. But he's not just going to walk around and say, oh, I rose from the dead. No, now a new power is being made known. A new power that humanity has not even begun to touch. The power of ascension. The power of ascending. And he's letting Mary Magdalene know, this is what I want you to tell my disciples. If they're going to continue to follow me, they better learn how to ascend. What does ascend mean? Ascend is the second part of the great blessing of Easter. Ascend, if you look it up in the dictionary, simply means to rise from one level to a higher level, to a higher level, to a higher level. That's what ascend means. And Jesus says, I'm ascending to the Father, my Father and your Father. I'm ascending to God, my God and your God. My eternal life, my physical life, if I am still here, is all about rising from one level to another level to another level. All the time getting closer and closer to the perfection that God has. All the time learning how to love my neighbor more. All the time learning how to be less selfish and more giving. Learning how to be less taking and more giving. That's what I'm doing. I'm ascending to the Father. I'm ascending to the heavenly realms. And if you know me and you want to follow me, this is where you need to go. As an example of this right quickly. These days, I have learned that when I get out of bed in the morning, I need not one power, but two powers. Yes, I got to wake up from the dead. Yes. I sit on the edge of the bed, kind of trying to wake up from the dead. Oh, it's another day. But if I sit there all day saying, oh, I woke up from the dead, what good would I be to anybody? What good would I be to the world? No, I have discovered that there's two powers and they go together. You got to be resurrected and you got to ascend. You got to get up. And then you got to get up in the world. You see, this is what Jesus is trying to tell us. I'll bring you back from the dead. I'll bring you back from every kind of spiritual illness you've ever thought you might have. I'll heal every sin you ever thought you could ever be buried by. I will heal it. I will make you new. I will make you the person that you are supposed to be in this world. And then you need to follow me. You need to ascend. You need to take up your cross and follow me. You need to go higher and higher and higher and get better and better and better and better at being the Christ that you now are, because I live in you. You see, this is the double blessing of Easter. We are resurrected, and then we are called to ascend. There's a cave in France. I'm going to cut this a little shorter. There's a cave in France that has all kinds of hieroglyphics on the cave. These hieroglyphics are about 25,000 years old. You can go there and look at what our ancestors 25,000 years ago used to draw on the inside of their cave while they waited for the dinosaur to walk by. That's all you can do. I mean, you've got dinosaurs everywhere out there. What are you going to do? Stay in the cave and draw things. And they try to read that hieroglyphics, and they try to understand what was symbolized by this and what was symbolized by that. And there's one hieroglyphic in that cave that has mystified archaeologists for many, many years. It's a simple arrow pointing upwards. And they can't figure it out because it doesn't fit any of the other diagrams in the cave. Other things are animals, buffaloes, hunting, whatever. But there's this arrow. Now, I'm not an archaeologist. I've never studied archaeology much in my life. But to me, it's pretty obvious what that means. There's no way out of this place but up. Let me say that again. There's no way out of this place but up. Okay? You're not going to get anywhere in this world unless you learn that. Unless you learn that you need to go up and not stay and not go down. Life is about that. Life is not only filled with the power of resurrection, it's filled with the power of ascending. Think about it. We do it every day. An area gets flooded out and all these homes get destroyed. What happens? We build a new city, we build it better. An earthquake comes and it destroys the place. What do? We build a new city, we build it better. Ascension, the power of ascension. The power of standing against all darkness, all evil, all death, and saying, we will be better. I think it's what God says to us. On Easter, he says, get up and get better. That's it. You know, I'm a big t-shirt man. I love t-shirts. I love to talk about what we could put on them. And I think a great Christian t-shirt would be one that was black, and on it we would have white letters that would say, "We're resurrected and ascending." That's who we are. We are the resurrected, and we are the ascending. To close with, I would like to share with you a little ending part of a sermon that was preached by an African-American preacher. I went to an Easter service sermon one time, and he preached this. And he was an old pastor, had seen probably many, many things. And when I used to tell this story in sermons before, I was a young pastor, and so I would say he was an old pastor. Well, anyway, we have all seen things. But this is how he ended the sermon that day. "Christ is risen, and so am I. Christ is risen, and so shall I when I die. Christ is ascending, and so am I. For every day, in every way, I am being pulled up, up, up toward heaven by the King who came, by the King who is coming, by the King who is making sure I'm going to make it all the way home." Resurrection power, ascension power, they are ours. May your Easter be blessed by them.